if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt, this is it right here.
I'm the girl on the internet that's paying off $55,000 worth of credit card debt, but I didn't accumulate that debt by going out and buying a bunch of crap.
We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card.
Americans are drowning in debt, and credit card companies are loving every minute of it. They don't want our balances paid off. They would prefer us stuck in a financial hamster wheel, swiping our way into decades of interest payments. Some people get into credit card debt for superficial reasons. Some get into credit card debt because they are literally just trying to survive. Today, we're taking a look at both. But before we do that, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
I'm the girl on the internet that's paying off $55,000 worth of credit card debt, but I didn't accumulate that debt by going out and buying a bunch of crap. See, my husband and I have always made enough money to pay our bills. We've just never had a lot extra. Prior to 2.5 years ago, we had credit cards, we used them, and we paid them off in full every month. But unfortunately, like most Americans nowadays, we were one emergency away from complete disaster. Unfortunately for us, we didn't just have one emergency, we had 3 within about 6 months. The plan was always that my husband and I were both going to work full time because we couldn't afford for one of us to stay home with our kids. And then one of them got very, very sick. So I dropped down to working only part-time because we had 5 appointments every single week that we had to attend. And then our mortgage went up, and then inflation, and then we started drowning. Now, I'm not saying any of this to sound like a sob story because there are people who have it so much worse than me. I'm just saying it so that if you feel like you are in a similar spot, just know you are not alone. And just in case you haven't heard it recently, I love you so much.
She is the perfect example of somebody who wasn't going out and spending frivolously and now completely underwater in credit card debt because of a few accidents or emergencies that were not her fault. Some of the comments say, yep, can definitely relate. We were one emergency away from the same problem and had a big emergency. It's been tough, but we are making our way through. It's not a sob story. It's a reality that you unfortunately share with many. People don't understand just how quickly things can go wrong. So many people want to say that if somebody's struggling, it's their fault, it's a you problem, and no, it's a systemic problem, especially when medical debt is the #1 reason for bankruptcy in the US. Accidents happen, emergencies happen, and Americans don't have a safety net they can fall back on. And that's when you put a lot on credit just to help you stay afloat. One of you from a previous video of mine commented, I work in social work for a nonprofit that somehow made $3 million in profit. Meanwhile, the company is still able to buy the higher ups company cars worth $100,000, and yet my appreciation week for doing all the hard work was a pen and a sticky notepad while going on the news talking about how awesome they are. This is the first time I couldn't afford to go to work because I had no gas and no money. I should mention the risk of death is possible in my job line. My company has a life insurance policy on us. I also don't get a 1% raise. In order to earn that, I have to do 40 extra hours of training on my own time. That should be illegal because that is work off the clock. And all that for just a 1% raise? Americans are being robbed blind at every turn.
I always get questions as to why I have so much credit card debt. This is it. I'm spring cleaning my apartment and I did something incredibly stupid. I must be a masochistic little idiot because I realized that I am literally the woman who lived in her shoes. I counted and there are 60 pairs. It takes up literally the entire area space of my bedroom floor. And for reference, this is about 6 feet right here. This area, it's like 6 feet across. So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt, this is it right here. So this is what 60 pairs of shoes look like. And shamefully, I think only like 5 of these pairs are under $300. Okay, let's say under 200. That one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Those are the only pairs that are under $200. Oh, and then my Birkenstocks back there too. Oh, and my Bass loafers right there. But everything else is over $200. Most of them are over $500.
What kills me, besides the prices of the shoes themselves, is the fact that so many of those shoes all look alike. There's no variety. Like, they all look like the other shoe next to them. Oh my gosh. So for example, let's just say for fun that each pair costs $300. 60 pairs of shoes times 300 is $18,000. $18,000 on shoes. And we know that she spent way more than that. That is painful and so not worth the debt.
My heart is beating 1,000,000 miles per hour and I'm shaking because I'm about to share with the world how much debt I am in. So get ready. This is 13 years worth of really bad financial decisions, being irresponsible, really bad mental health episodes. There's no excuse for it. I've been praying and I've been asking God to lift this off of my shoulders and to help me find a way to take care of this and to get ourselves out of debt so that I can stop saying things to my kids like, we can't afford that. The amount of credit card debt that I am in, $88,811. Okay, I'm going to go throw up and probably not show my face on this app for the rest of the day because I can't believe I'm admitting this to the world.
At least she's planning on doing something about it. One comment says, $88,000? How? You must be living above your means. I mean, yeah, she kind of said she made some bad financial decisions. Another comment says, it's 100% doable. We paid off $83,000 of credit card debt and $139,000 overall in 4 years. You can totally pay it off. Literally, if I can, anyone can. I didn't even know you could get 11 credit cards. And then there's several comments from people from other countries saying, like, how is this possible? How is this allowed in the US? One comment says, genuinely curious, how is it possible to be in that much credit card debt? I don't talk about your decision making. What I'm wondering about is, how do banks allow it in the US? In Europe, when we take out a credit card, the bank applies the limit and it's usually from a few hundred to a few thousands. Over the years, you can increase the limit, but it would be a few thousand at a time, and the bank reserves the right to refuse the request. No one here has an $80,000 limit. Is there no limit on American credit cards? I don't get it. Yeah, it's not like that here. And these credit card companies lobby our politicians so that they can just make a killing off of everyday Americans on interest. So they want us going into as much debt as possible.
So, my husband and I are $60,000 in debt. Okay.
Part of the problem. You are.
Let me explain how we got here. In June of 2022, we had a good amount of savings and decided that our home that we've been living in for a couple years just needed some maintenance and some upgrades. You can see behind me, we live in like a very normal house, but there were some things like on the outside where our stucco was falling off, so we needed to have that repaired. We had our house painted, we upgraded our bathroom a little bit, and also decided to pay off my husband's private student loan because the interest is not great. And so we had plenty of savings and we decided to just drain those bad boys. We both had really stable jobs. We would be able to squirrel away some money over time and build back up our savings again. 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, I was laid off from my job. And I'm the breadwinner of our household, so it did not go well. I was unemployed for about 7 months. Thank goodness I had social media to keep us afloat for a little bit, but here's the deal. We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card. And that allowed my husband's income to pay for our mortgage, our car payments, our daycare, things like that. But everything else went on a credit card. We cut back as much as we could, but there's still a lot of expenses.
So she later went on in that video to say that they spend $36,000 a year on daycare. That's $3,000 a month. Daycare is no joke. It's sometimes like a second mortgage or more. It should be subsidized, in my opinion. Some of the comments say, I don't think you realize how many people need to hear this and know they're not alone. Thank you for sharing. You can do it. I paid off $90,000 in credit card debt as a single mom and worked 2 full-time jobs for 1 year to get it done. You know when you've been on a debt-free journey that you just go like scorched earth. Like, I mean, you stay home, you find as many free activities as you can. Like, I got really into taking my dogs to hiking trails, going to parks. Anything that was free was great. My city's public library, oh my gosh, my favorite thing on earth. That became a place I went to regularly. But you have to, like, when you make that decision, be like, okay, I'm gonna pay this debt off somehow, you just go scorched earth. Another comment says, girl, between our businesses and credit cards, we're like $500,000. Unfortunately, you always always need an emergency fund no matter what. Yeah, the fact that they drained their savings and then thought, oh, no worries, we both have good jobs, we'll be able to build that back up. That is so, oh my gosh. Emergencies happen unexpectedly. That's why they're an emergency. They weren't expected, they weren't planned. Life can change that fast, and when it does, it can be terrifying. So this next video shows a woman dancing around and eating something that looks delicious, but she says, a credit card from 10 years ago just sued me. I offered them what I could pay each month and they weren't happy. So they asked the judge to issue a judgment against me, which she did. Now they're going to garnish the wages I barely have, but I'll stay positive because things always work out. A credit card from 10 years ago came after her. That's what's so scary, is because I always thought that, if you get in trouble with your credit card company, which I did in my early 20s, I just thought that, oh, you can talk to them and say, okay, how can I pay this off? Let's make a plan, and that they'll work with you. I got lucky. This was like a long time ago when I was in my early 20s, that they did work with me and I was able to make a plan to pay it off. But apparently they don't have to work with you, and they can come after you and sue you and garnish your wages. It's so not worth it. Some of the comments say, oh, so we are all in the same boat. Capital One came after me and I said I couldn't afford to pay because I'm unemployed, and they took it to court and I have to pay $50 a week, which I still don't have. Is it Discover? Because they're trying to do that to me. Girl, they are so petty. Just keep dancing. Bet if you tag them, they'll change their tune. I doubt that, but good luck to her. So in this one, this person has on screen me last summer when I was almost $70,000 in credit card debt, had no income, but decided to go take a trip to Paris, Spain, and Greece for 2 weeks. So these are once in a lifetime trips. I mean, Paris, Spain, Greece, what? So this is a person who has either messed around and is about to find out, or it's somebody who has a big, nice safety net to fall back on, whether that's in the form of family or friends or a partner, because going on 3 once-in-a-lifetime trips when you are putting yourself in that much debt is wild. But this person also sounds like they're just going to manifest the debt away, which we know is childlike thinking and delusion, and they're also trying to sell a get-rich-quick course, so I would take what she says with a grain of salt.
Look, we are no financial experts. We're just a couple trying to pay off over $72,000 of credit card debt. We don't really have much of a plan. We're kind of just trying to figure it out as we go. If you're on a debt-free journey too, follow along or send this to a friend who's doing the same. This is our Discover card that we've been paying off since March 29th. Sorry, it was March 27th, but the starting balance was $6,729.70, and this card has been the biggest pain in my ass. It always has been since I opened up the card a few years ago. Again, the balance today is $3,700, and this card will be paid off this month. We tried April, it didn't work. It's okay. May, I swear to God, this card is going to be paid off one way or another. I got a check for $775 for my side hustle. We went ahead and put $750 of that towards extra credit card debt. This is Ally Bank, and you're actually able to have buckets. So as you can see, extra credit card debt payments is getting $750. And we went ahead and made that payment. If we do some quick math, $3,700 minus $750 is $2,950. So we are completely out of the 3,000s. We have 4 weeks left of May. So if we want this card paid off by May, we need at least $737.50 per week. How we're going to do that, I have no idea. But here's a quick snippet on why I want this card freaking paid off ASAP. Discover 17, number 17, it has a interest rate of 16.99%. As you can see, all of the other ones are either 0, 2, or 9.99%. So after this Discover, we're paying off the TJ Maxx, which only has a $600 balance. Like, we make $600 payments on this freaking card. So literally, the faster we pay off our 17th credit card, the faster we can start paying on our 18th and 19th credit card, which will probably be done in literally 2 weeks.
I love that she has this all written out like this. I love seeing it like that. So I would want to pay off the Citi card first, because the Citi has 9.99% interest, whereas the TJ Maxx card has 0%. So that interest on the Citi card is just going to keep building. I'm looking at number 19. That interest is going to just keep building. I would pay that off first versus a card that has 0% interest. Good for her. I love seeing a good debt-free journey.
Y'all need to know that me and my husband had a combined credit card debt of over $30,000. We have 12 credit cards total. He has 5, I have 7. Since December of 2024, if you're new here, I have been paying down our debt. I have been hustling my butt off. I have been budgeting. I have not been spending as much, but also still living, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm still going to get me my $6 coffee down at the Dunkin' or the Starbucks because I can treat myself, okay? Dave Ramsey might say, no, you don't need that coffee, make it at home. No, Dave Ramsey, I'm going to go buy it at the dang Starbucks or the Dunkin', okay? Anywho, I'm very proud of myself because I have been paying down this debt. I have paid off 6 credit cards total to a 0 freaking balance, y'all. In this economy, in this day and age, that's amazing. My husband works full-time. I work full-time. I have 2 jobs, okay? I'm working my butt off to provide a better life for our family and to be financially stable and to say that we're debt-free and not let debt run our lives or creditors run our lives, because let's be real, if you only pay a minimum balance, you are never paying those credit cards off. You're just going to keep paying interest. That's it. I am sick of paying interest. I'm sick of giving people my own money, my hard-earned money. They don't deserve it. I deserve it. We deserve it. And that's exactly the mindset that I need to keep having to get this paid down.
So I think this is where the internet's probably going to be divided. There's going to be people who are on a debt-free journey or have been on a debt-free journey, and they're like, oh my gosh, do not go buy that coffee. Like, that is going to add up, and it's just such a ridiculous expense when you could make it at home for so much cheaper. And then there's the people who are like, you gotta have your little vice. I'm not judging either. I'm probably the type who's like, no, I'm going to make my coffee at home. And I hate Starbucks. I think their coffee tastes disgusting. But besides the point, if you were to just get a coffee from Starbucks every day, that was only $3.26 a day. Is it even that cheap anymore now? After 1 year, that would almost be $1,200 in a single year on Starbucks coffee. On my debt-free journey, I was definitely making coffee at home. I'm interested to know if you make your coffee at home or if you go through the drive-thru. No judgment whatsoever.
I'm 31, I'm single, I live alone, I currently have $28,000 in credit card debt. I'm about to go out for my little afternoon walk, and I was kind of pondering my life and the journey that my finances have been, and I think one turning point, of course there are a plethora of turning points, but one really big turning point that I think could have made a huge difference in my debt payoff journey is the day that I decided to move out. If my mom and dad had known how much credit card debt I was in, would they have let me stay rent-free for like a year? Even 6 months would have made big progress. But I often wonder that, and maybe one day when I'm in a healthier mindset about my finances, I could ask my parents this question. Of course, we'll never truly know what would have really happened because this is in the past, but it is a question that I ask myself. Big reason why I am advocating for transparency and vulnerability about our finances is because you don't know who could help you. Now, I'm not asking for any free handouts, and I'm not upset at my parents for not letting me stay longer because they didn't know my financial situation. I'm also not blaming my parents for my financial situation. I think if there was less shame around credit card debt and finances and mismanaging our money and my lack of financial literacy, could that have helped me in the long run? So I think it's really important to talk about it however you're comfortable, whether it be with somebody online like I'm doing, with friends, with internet friends, with your family. I think it's really helpful to open up that line of communication because you truly never know how it could benefit you.
I love that people are talking about their debt-free journeys online. It's so awesome. And it's true, like there's so much shame around it, but most Americans are in debt. Most Americans are in debt, so there shouldn't be this shame around it. And like she said, she could have asked her parents and they might have let her stay with them longer. And you know, when you're on a debt-free journey, like you will take every little cost-cutting corner that you can. You will take every little bit of help you can to get that debt paid off. So I thought this was an interesting stat that I found about, you know, like how I just said most Americans are in debt. This is a little bit different. It's on homelessness, but it totally applies as to why people would be in so much credit card debt. I'm talking about the ones who aren't spending superficially, but using it as a survival means. According to the U.S. Interagency on Homelessness, as many as 40 to 60% of people experiencing homelessness have a job, but housing is unaffordable because wages have not kept up with rising rents. There is no county or state where a full-time minimum wage worker can afford a modest apartment. Most Americans are one crisis away from being homeless because most live paycheck to paycheck. So it's not crazy to see why so many Americans have credit card debt when they are literally just trying to survive. And to end on a lighter note, this one says, when I see someone who owes me, enjoying the soft life.
When are you paying back the money?
That's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you'll check out one of these 2 videos on screen, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.